Alright, welcome back to another episode of the JA Games Factorio Space Age, and that's right, we have just got the Volcanus science back to base, and we are about to research coal liquefaction, then cliff explosives, then turbos, and, you can see it there. So, yeah, pretty exciting. Pretty excited about that. That's awesome. Another big development here. We now have jars. We have jars, that's right. You wouldn't believe it, but, well, there it is. That's right. Jars in the game. So, what do we would do with jars? I don't know.
Like and subscribe.
Just put them around you and just bask in their glowy jarness? I don't know. Alright, anyways, this episode we are going to redo oil and get that set up and, well, just continue to expand this place, Volcanus. Alright, yeah, okay, let's do it. Alright, well, we're here. Maybe we should actually upgrade this ship. I don't know. Do we need it? Probably not. Do I want it? Yeah, I kind of do. And by that, I mean... well, let's just do a quick circuit condition. Because I want our ships... I want the fleet of haulers to just be able to continuously go. And... I think part of that means that I'd like to do what? What would I like to do? Nice, we got coal liquefaction, cliff explosives is on the rise. I think we would just kind of like to cut this whole thing off. I'm just gonna make sure to save before I do this. Alright, I think that's where I'm going to leave this ship. That way we should be able to go back and forth quite a bit easier. And we did also get the recipes for this thing here, reprocessing. So I should be able to turn this in here. And then right now we are lacking the metal ones. So let's see if this works. Well, we seem to have it. We have exactly the right amount for both of those. So there is a little trick we can do if we wanted to get the... to kind of fix this situation where it's exactly what it should be. And so it doesn't do anything about that. Because if I were to take... right, because I have exactly 40 and 50 of these, which is the desired amount. But actually, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter because this is fully crushing and fully providing this with ore, which is totally fine. And it's completely full on ammo at this point. That's also, yeah, kind of just makes it not really worth it. Thinking of how I could probably store some ammo in here. I think that just came from me picking up things. Yeah. So anyways, this was a nice little addition to this ship because now it just has much more capacity for producing ammo. And if we take our rate calculator, I think this should be pretty close. Exactly how much we are smelting. We have capacity with just this one to actually use all of this metal that we're smelting here, so that's good. Will we die of power death? Maybe, but I don't know. That's a problem I'm willing to... I think we're fine. So anyways, alright, so just a quick update here. We have this kind of sorted out, I guess. I just need to drop down some of these... more of these beacons. Give me that bacon. Alright, and then yeah, so this is kind of the setup I'm looking at here, which will have the coal in the back, of course, and then the steam gets bumped out one here, and we will have steam coming in here, probably make the water and the steam here. I don't think we'll need to do anything other than that. I mean, yeah, we'll kind of supply the entire build with water and steam here, I think. We also have water on bus, so we may make use of that and build water off-site. We'll see, because yeah, we can always pump up this, we can kind of double this or whatever. But that being said, we do have our basic kind of smell refining down, and I just took this one up and reading the contents and only pumping it upwards if this tank has more than, I don't know, 2,500, probably could be 1,000, doesn't really matter, but you need 50 for each one, and if this is 12, well then that's 600, so you would need at least 600 in here. So you know what, I'm gonna jump that down to 1,000 just as a quick little buffer there to make sure that this thing always has that heavy oil. And of course I had heavy oil from before, so I just kind of moved my tanks out of the way and not disposing of these liquids, we're going to keep them. So I just moved them away from here and put them over here temporarily while I kind of build my design, which is going to be, yeah, we need to have a little bit of room here for a mini liquid bus kind of going up and down. So probably going to have the tanks be something like this. And then we will have plastic and all this. This is going to go, I'm going to take this out and build something a little bit nicer here. But yeah, I will get the cracking in here. So yeah, we'll see you on the other side of that. Alright, Jar Gang, so I'm back, and well, I did a couple things in the interim. I finished this design. I probably should have recorded some of it, but I don't know, I felt like it was kind of boring. It's kind of repeating the same thing, and like I mentioned, we're limiting that, so we always have at least 1,000 in there, almost. Yeah, and then just, you know, using the rate calculator to check to make sure that I'm getting enough water in here, that I'm getting enough lubricant, everything. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Could have continued this out to, you know, there or whatever, but it's just like the ratios, it could be trimmed a little bit, which left some space maybe for water, but I had space over here for water. It did need to be souped up with some speed modules in order to get the amount of water that we need, but that shouldn't be an issue. How much are we using here actually? Well, quite a bit of sulfuric acid, so we're almost probably breaching the limit of what we could bring in. So maybe it was better over here. I kind of put it over there at first and was getting it from here, but either way, we're kind of down to the pipe limit, the pump limit, really. So the pump limit, because sometimes we put a pump on it, like right here, and it's limited to 1,200 per second. So anyways, doesn't really matter. Point is, we have everything in place. Then I started going down a little bit of a rabbit hole here to think, well, could I make the chemical plants make the cubes out of, like, dynamically choose between petroleum and light oil? I mean, I think that would be like the really coolest thing ever, right? Because before I just had like another column here of this making it, and then I would just decide whether I wanted to pump the light oil in or the petroleum in to make cubes out of one or the other, so that I was dynamically making cubes out of one or the other of these two. Because yeah, you can, if you're not using the petroleum and you just make cubes out of light oil, you can fill up on petroleum and then get stuck where you have output full of petroleum, which is actually the state we're in right now. So that's why I was thinking, hey, why don't we do some controlling here? And I figured, well, this is the point where you guys can join in, I guess, and let's create kind of a bit of a smart oil system here. So first of all, I have connected everything via green wire to the circuit network here, which you can see above my head, that we are looking at the amounts in there, just in the general system grid. And then that way it's just controlled here. Yeah, so I can grab that signal wherever I want, which is totally fine. And then I'm basically saying here, this is just to control the oil going into well, actually, I kind of wanted to prioritize the lubricant. So that's what it is doing, actually. It's saying here that if the lubricant is greater than 25,000 and the oil is less than 40,000, then crack that heavy oil. Actually, I think I need to crack it into light oil anyways. Like no matter what, right? So maybe this constant combinator is not useful right now. Maybe it should just be a straight connection to the pump and just say, hey, if you got lubricant over 25,000, then you can pump, right? Right now, It does, so that's totally fine, because we always need to crack the heavy oil down into something to continue production. So then from there, we basically always want to crack, no, we only want to crack light oil into petroleum when it's over 25,000. Right? And then that way, that's pretty much controlled for this side of things. But for the other side of things here, now we consume the petroleum and we can consume the light oil. And so here I'm just thinking I'm gonna have to clear the pipe on the back end, right? So I figured, well, if I can put this in a storage tank, maybe that can give me just a little bit of a buffer and then push it back in here. So I wanted to just kind of think this through and figured, hey, this would be maybe the most interesting part of this. We'll have a neat design here at the end of this. So what I'm thinking is, like, these two need to be separated because you're gonna have one thing here and it can be either light oil or petroleum. So then I want to check to see if this is almost full. So if the petroleum is nearing 50,000, so maybe at 40,000, then we switch to petroleum. Otherwise, we use light oil, but maybe only if light oil is greater than 25,000. Because I don't know, what else might we use light oil for? Really nothing, quite frankly. I don't know. Like, do we use light oil for anything else? Not really. Yeah, I mean, we're really not using it for anything else. It only goes into rocket fuel. So that's really our condition, is if petroleum is almost full, then we want to switch this over to petroleum. If not, then we want to use light oil. So that should be pretty simple. Just a matter of us, we want to have these two recipe signals, right? And then we basically just want to say one or the other. If, I guess we also want to stop ourselves from having like a race condition here, I guess. So we want to say if petroleum is less than 35,000, I guess let's say 40,000 is our, right? So if it's less than 40,000, okay, let's see. We got to think this through a little bit. So petroleum is greater than 40,000. Then we want to use that, right? We're going to need to do something on here to set the filter and pump this out. This part should be pretty easy, I think, because we just need to set that filter. And then whatever comes in there, if it can find room, it should be able to find room. Because if we change over to light oil, that means we have space to put, that means we have less than 40,000 petroleum. And if we change over to petroleum, well, we could be full on light oil. Very unlikely. Actually, that could be the problem though. So maybe that's also why I tried to limit it here, but you can't really limit it here because you have to crack the heavy oil down. I don't like to store heavy oil. I'm only storing a little bit here just to be able to keep the coal liquefaction going, just to have like a little bit of a buffer. You don't really need it, but I just like having that kind of like security oil blanket. I don't know. So either way, basically, I think if this ended up being heavy oil in here, well, I don't know. I think it would be okay. I think it shouldn't ever really fill up on light oil. I guess it will fill up on light oil, but the point is that if we have this pushing the light oil back here, then we can crack it into petroleum. So maybe we only crack... No, we always want to crack the light oil into petroleum. We really do. Well, actually, we only do if light oil is more than half full, which I've already set that to. Otherwise, we want to keep the light oil, because light oil is actually a little bit more efficient for cubes anyways. So we kind of want to prefer light oil if we can. But I think that should be good. We just need to kind of set a latch on this to basically say less than 40,000. Right. So I also might need to cycle back on itself. So if petroleum is less than 40,000, then we get the solid fuel from light oil signal. Number one. And that's on green. Not that it really matters, but we could specify that. Right, so if petroleum is less than 40,000, or, no, and the cube signal is 0, or petroleum is less than 40,000. But we always need some recipe coming through, so that's... Oh man. This is a hard problem to solve, and that's why I didn't do it before, because I was just like, it's easier if you just have all of the buildings again, and you just don't set recipes based on anything, you just kind of like do this. But that being said, this part of it shouldn't be that complicated. But we'll get this. We'll get this. Petroleum is less than 50k, less than 30. Right, so as soon as it crosses above 40k, start with this one. As soon as it crosses above 40k, we get the signal. That should cancel this signal. But either way, it's going to cancel it there, but then it could hold. Maybe this should be 0, right? I feel like I'd have to kind of test it, maybe in a testing zone, to see if it actually works, like with different, for me to understand it a little bit more. But I feel like this... We'll be back after these messages. Yeah, I think we'll keep going here because we're close. I want this to latch on, so if petroleum gets above 40,000, it gives me the petroleum signal. That I know. Then it stays on. It has to check its own petroleum signal, I think, actually. Or petroleum is greater than... Right, I think that's it. And this one doesn't... Basically just needs to say, if petroleum signal is 0, then oil. I think that's actually it. I think I was overcomplicating it, but that's really it, because in this always will have one or the other signal, and this is the one that's actually checking to see if petroleum is greater than 40k, turn it on, and then if this comes back on itself, then it'll stay on until it's above, until it's under 30k. Okay, so that's it. That's actually it. Now we have to do this side where we can set the filter, I guess, on here. And also disable it. So we actually need a little bit of circuitry around here. Yeah, and this pipe is just weaving itself through here to come back on itself. It's kind of cool if you ask me. I guess we also need this. We also need a filter pump here, actually. So maybe we need on the red, the purple. Ah, but you can't. Can you? Right, that's interesting. Yeah, the output is only on the red, actually, so that makes it feasible. Right? And then similarly here, kind of weird that, I don't know. Right? But the output being only on the red makes this feasible without it confusing itself. This doesn't need to be enabled disabled. Well, maybe it does. I don't know. 'Cause it's like, we have a pipe and we pump some fluid into it. And we now pump fluid into it here? Like, what happens? Nothing. Interesting. It just gets stuck. Which is like, that's kind of what we want, right? And if we select this filter as light oil, then, I mean, it can't, we shouldn't even need to select that because it should pull all of the light oil out and then it should just fill with, yeah, petroleum. Okay. Interesting, interesting. A little bit of fluid experimenting. So that's cool. So then all we need here is somehow to connect both fluids. How do we connect both fluids to this? I don't think we can. Yeah, maybe we do need 2 pumps. Okay. Chill. Just chill for a second. That doesn't need to be there. We can just do that. Right? So now, actually, we don't need to set the filter with this. We can just enable disable, and we don't need these outputs for the liquids. We just need to enable disable them. Oops, we enable disable based on this one. Right. And I can still set the filter on here, it just doesn't matter. Okay, interesting. We have purple in here now. It's interesting that we have no room for the purple, actually. Is okay, because we should be consuming it as soon as we get this thing online. I don't know if it's gonna work, but because then here, I mean, we could do 2 pumps again. Here we need 2 pumps because we need to output into 2 spots, and we're inputting from 2 spots. And you can't really just like connect the pipe. Yeah, so we kind of need 2 pumps going each way here, at least I think. And maybe it would be cooler if this was here and this was here just to like line up. You mean you can't? Different fluids. Whatever. Like, yeah, you can. And actually, this should be... This needs to be petroleum greater than 0. right? Yeah, so that's how it should be actually working. Okay. But then this needs to be... This needs to be... I think something like this. Where we basically invert the signal, I think. So if petroleum is greater than 0, then we want to dump any light oil. And similarly, but oppositely, then we want to dump any petroleum. Right? And then we can set the filter on here, and that should be it. Oh, we want to set that to 1. Great. And then now this is full because it's full. So I think this actually works now. I think this should actually work. So now we just need to get light oil up here to... I don't think we need petroleum to continue, but whatever, we can keep petroleum continuing. I think this should be good for rocket fuel. Let's get rocket fuel going. How much is this even? 2.48, so very little. We definitely don't need a big belt. We don't even need a half belt. Right, and then this... Should we get it all the way down, or should we just import it? I think I'm cool with importing it by bots for now. Which I think I'll just do right here. The patented jar recycler. There we go. Yeah, and then we can just leave that there. That'll be totally fine. And this we need to use light oil, and then we need to get... Oh, we need to get cubes over here. What's more? Cubes? Cubes are more. So we actually want to... that's not gonna work. Maybe we should get cubes coming in this side, I guess. Yeah, let's get oil up here instead. On the top. And then, you know, just kind of do this. This needs to be up there. Maybe that's not the cleanest option. Or we can do this. Right, because then we can do this old thing, this pattern we see all the time, right? And then this is 3. Well, RoboPort's getting in the way. Fortunately, we can just move it over and it still connects. But doesn't do anything? Well, we haven't finished with this yet, so maybe we finish with this. Right? Like, that's pretty slick if you ask me. Just on the ends doesn't really quite get it. I mean, we could still stay there for the pattern, right? The pattern. Look at how beautiful that is. It's actually pretty nice. We might even be able to move the entire thing down one. Maybe even put this right there. Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna belt that out right now, but that should work. That should work. That's looking pretty slick. And that gives us what? 2 per second. I think that's actually a bit more than we had before. This we don't need. We need this. That's what we need. Okay, and then how many cubes is this taking up? 16. And this can produce 22. So actually we could go a little bit further out with this. I think we take this from here. It should be tileable. Ooh, so maybe we should do that, right? It's not quite tileable. As if we do that, and then we take the whole thing out once more. I don't know. We'll eventually get this. We've basically got the design we want, so I'm super excited to try turning it on. Okie dokie. Now I think we got kind of what we want. 20, and this is how many? 22. That I'm pretty happy with. In fact, we could pipe it up a little bit by changing out one of those modules, but I think this is pretty good. This is pretty darn good. Yeah, so now comes the big question, does it even actually work? I don't know. Are we taking out... I think basically we wouldn't want to do anything about this. Well, because petroleum should be pumping back in, if we're somehow, like, petroleum is the good that we want. So if we have a bit of extra petroleum in this tank, like buffer tank like we do right now, I think that's actually okay. Because if we started consuming plastic, for example, then like plastic and petroleum are the things that we really need. We don't need light oil. So like light oil we kind of need for this. So but that's also why I've got it controlled here, that it's like it's glitching out because, well, yeah, I don't know. It's glitching out because, well, so I'm fine with because, well, for now. But yeah, that means that we died. We died from light oil here. There we go. There we go. Okay. Keep going. Keep going, robots. You doing good. And then, yeah, I mean, we could belt this all the way down over here. I still haven't figured out if I really want to keep this here and etc. But I'm going to do some testing here and see if this actually works, because I think it should actually work at this point. But I just need to like ramp up the plastic consumption. Which, yeah, I'm actually... I'm going to make blue circuits and red circuits here with plastic because I have so much coal. I have 5.3 mil coal over here, but that's not going to be right now. That's, yeah, the next episode we're going to get our belts system up to get the next level of belts, and at the same time we'll get the inserters on this planet, and then that's going to be close to all we need here. Oh, I'm also going to get we need to get Now that we have a proper oil setup, we need to get explosives and cliff explosives, and that's part of what we need petroleum for, because we need to make sulfur out of petroleum. And so once we start doing that, then we'll be able to get more consumption of our petroleum right now to be able to kind of test this out and see if this works. So that's it for now. That's all. Hope you enjoyed this little circuitry oil dynamic cubes design challenge. I sure did, and we'll see you in the next one. All right, that's it. Bye for now. Oh, and by the way, I have a coffee Ko-Fi up now, so if you feel like supporting your boy Jar on making this series, you're really enjoying what we're doing here, feel free, please do hit me up on Coffee. If you can just throw a couple bucks my way, or if you can subscribe even for a few bucks a month, that's really going to make a big difference. Because yeah, I mean, the series is actually quite a bit of work. At first it wasn't that much work, but it's like doing this every day is a lot of work, and I really enjoy it, but it also makes me kind of consider whether I should just do more tutorial videos to gain more traction. But yeah, I guess that's the point why I'm saying if you can support me on Ko-Fi, help pay for some of the costs of doing what I do, and hopefully help me make this eventually be a full-time job, that would be super, super awesome. But until then, we'll see you in the next episode. All right.
Like and subscribe.